Namaste, beloveds. We are here today to share some information with you.
You know, thank you so much for joining us. And first and foremost, I'm sure a lot of you, Shri and I, are absolutely confident. A lot of you are at that enough is enough moment. We want to open up by sharing that the tragic events in Orlando that affected the LGBT community and the world are a divine wake-up call. And look at the timing at the solstice energy of June. So we wanted to bring out this video right now. We were actually going to bring it out on the 12th and decided to wait because of the events of the 12th. And actually, if you go back through a lot of our sharings on YouTube, you'll notice we've been talking about the 12th of June for quite a while. The 12th of June was a profound wake-up call moment to assist those beings that are carrying the divine crystalline light to awaken ever more, to stand in the passionate action versus activism, and to assist all of our beloved Gaia to minimize for the months ahead. And so that's why we're putting out this video. There's been lots of talk about the solstice and about ascension events. We want to offer a perspective of clarity and perhaps invite an action event to assist you to really grow through this moment.
It's sometimes challenging to understand what's going on when you're in the middle of the drama, when you're in the middle of the flow. It's only through meditation, through detachment, through relaxing our perspective that we begin to see how things fit together. And this is a calming insight. As we begin to understand how it all fits together, we can relax a bit. We feel less out of control. One of the things I want to remind each and every one of you is that this is a new energetic time. Yeah. We are at the time of what here and I have dubbed the Ascension Escalator. However, it's also at the time of the twinning Earth. Now, in the twinning Earth energies, you have the third dimensional energy, which is density, which is the traditional understanding of mass consciousness, is maybe the most sweeping way I can explain it. You have that energy. And then we have this lifting energy of the fifth dimensional Earth, which is all about more authenticity, more light, more love, more acceptance. The dance of I am a cosmic traveler here on the Earth. And those two energies are getting ever more polarized. Thus, this sociopathic act of hate that is there to remind us of the polarity and to encourage us to find our hearts. It's a wonderful thing to see the coming forth of unity, of a society saying we feel this and we want to support each other when there's a pulse of tragedy. That's beautiful. However, what happens next week? What happens next month? Yeah. How do you carry this forward? That's really the greater lesson for humanity.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about the June solstice and about the Ascension event that's coming. We're already in it. And that's one of the things, and we're not diminishing what any other people may be saying or bringing forward, because every beautiful soul is having the experience they need. When we lift above the judgment level, and we want to go back and remind you of the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening. The Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening is a very powerful tool right now, and it's a pyramid in 4 layers. And at the end of this video, we'll pop it in there so you can see it again. But remember that in the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening, we're all born into density consciousness. Density consciousness is me focused, and it's very, very third dimensional. And in the twinning Earth, and especially as we come to this moment of the June solstice and beyond, in the energy, remember, we're inside the energy of this spinning Matronian star. You feel that? And so this spinning energy, everything is spinning. And it's either spinning up, or it's spinning down, or it's spinning out. Remember, there's actually a third layer. And so when you move up from density into the second layer of the pyramid is actually the most dangerous. Now, you're going to be shocked. It's spiritual activism. Now, bring your hand to your heart, because sometimes words trigger, and our intention is not to trigger. Our intention is to inspire and educate, and then your heart decides where to go. Spiritual activism, hear this from the energy of your heart, is an amazing blessing because we must live through it. Why is it the most dangerous level? Because we lift from a me consciousness to an us focus. However, it's an us versus them focus. And this transcends all religions and spiritual traditions, because in that it is a rise, it is a lift. However, activism anchors anger and fear and meets anger and fear at the level of anger and fear. And so you might be saying, but I'm angry, but I'm upset. I see the energies on the planet. I see all these things that are happening. My friends are doing all these things that are hurting themselves, or I see people doing this or doing that. Those are judgments, and those judgments help you grow. They're good. However, the gift, and hear this from the ascended perspective, the gift of what just happened in Orlando is we're being offered the opportunity right now to minimize the rest of the summer, my loves. That's just the beginning if the body of love does not increase. So why is spiritual activism so dangerous? Because it locks you into judgment, and activism is a judgment. So how do you channel that energy? Well, as we move up the pyramid of spiritual awakening, when we get enough friction going in that spiritual activism level, we have an opportunity. And right now you're being supported by this spinning Matronian star. You can pop up into the next level, or drop down into density, or get stuck into spiritual activism. And that's the danger the entire planet is in right now, because the rise of fundamentalism is because the entire planet is at this level. If you choose to pop into ascension awareness, which means you free yourself, and Shri will share, you can't play your way off this game board. This is a conscious lift. You free yourself from the judgment. You relax into the recognition that, okay, the universe has this, and my role, my action comes from my passion. Passionate action does not meet activism at the level of fear, anger, doubt, war, polarity. Passionate action is when you step through or lift up through the veil of illusion fully. You step into the awareness of the divine, you see the divine in everything and everyone, and you act that way. You live your life as a role model. You live your life as an inspiration, and that ignites others to do the same, versus feeding a planetary thought body with more anger, fear, polarity, and judgment.
Anger and fear always create ripples of that which they don't want. Wow. Anger and fear will give you more of that which you want to avoid.
Yeah.
And remember how polarity works. We live in a zone of polarity, light, dark, good, bad, higher, lower. As soon as you anchor around one pole of that opposite, you are energizing the opposite to appear.
Yeah.
And thus you can move into the radicalization. You can be a radical light worker.
Exactly.
You can be a radical hater.
Yeah. You can be a radical lover.
And those energies are informative, meaning as we touch those energies, we learn things. They're not places to dwell. What each of us has the opportunity to do is to hold presence for the polarity and use that friction. Use your anger initially to say, how can I find the love here? How can I use this tension to lift me to a higher perspective?
Yeah.
That's the synthesis of polarity. That's the lift. That's the alchemical magic, is to lift through the polarity.
And that's what the world showed today. You know, I'm not interrupting you. I just, but that's what the world showed today. This morning, we woke up and in Sydney, Australia, the rainbow lights were lit. In the Eiffel Tower was lit with the rainbow. And you do realize, if you look at those colors, it's the chakras, right? You do get that, right? And so around the world, in New York, every corner of the world woke up championing love. When was the last time we had that happen? I mean, this was more than an act of solidarity. This was an event that said hate is not the only option on our planet. That was passionate action. Rather than riots in the streets, there was love in the streets. And you know, some of you might go, oh God, you guys are old hippies. Not really, and maybe that's a stereotype that you want to look at. The reality is we both went through our spiritual activistic phase as well. You know, back in the 70s, I was arrested for protesting on the streets, and I was angry, and I was out there. And the key is that we must all grow. That's the blessing of being on this planet, is growth. How we harness our energy, and especially as we come into this solstice energy right now, we're at another rapid propulsion event.
And the energies that are on the planet are cooking humanity. They're cooking energetically. Lots of tragic things can happen. Lots of miracles can happen. Have you ever looked at a pot of soup that was about to boil and you wonder, you know, you see a bubble come up and then there's a bubble over here. How do you know where the next bubble is going to pop up through the surface? We do know that the fire is cooking. We know that things are bubbling, and we truly sense there will be further events that will be calls to compassion. I prefer not to look at them as tragic expressions. They are tragic.
They are.
And they're calls to compassion. They're calls to find greater love. Passionate action means I will not accept living in this way. I choose this way. I'm not trying to condemn this other way. I'm trying to exemplify, to be a model of this. You know, if you think about your heroes, who are your heroes in the world? From one level, it could be the Mother Teresa, the Mahatma Gandhi. From another level, it could be a sports figure who went against all odds to bring forth something. It is our presence. As we live the example of loving compassion, we inform our surroundings. That's a subtle way of teaching, is it not?
Very much so.
When you're able to take the higher ground, your friends and your associates begin to go, maybe I can do that too.
Yeah.
And this is how we change our world.
You know, we change our world when we ignite ourselves. And we want to share one thing with you. If you're angry and you feel you have to do something from anger, do it. It's part of your learning phase. We're not condoning things. We're just sharing with you that there is zero judgment in what you're needing to do. Just notice how your actions affect others and notice how they leave you feeling. If you are left feeling inspired, then this is something you need to do. If you are left feeling like something wasn't right or something didn't happen or leaves you feeling kind of edgy, then you need to pay attention to that energy if you want to lift. Remember, the Metronian star, for the first time ever, is spinning viscerally on our planet right now. This is an energy that was normally only found in the 9th dimension. The fact that we have kind of come together through this twinning Earth energy and that we have all this rapid mobility happening means that you're in the soup, right?
Yeah.
You know, the other thing I do when I see a soup starting to boil is get out of the way. Because I don't want one of those bubbles to bop and hurt me. And so the reality is, how are you focusing your energy right now? Can you see through the terror the gift of what just happened? Because that's the greatest thing we can harness. The last thing I want to share with you before Shri shares is this. Go to our website, shriandkira.com. There's a lot of things on the homepage. They're all free. Check out the Self-Ascended Chakra Portrait. Understand it. Because if you ignite your chakras to ascend, and here we have the colors of the chakra being given all over the world right now. You've got to love that. If you look at the Divine Galactic Blueprint, which begins at the anchored heart, the ascended heart, and lifts up to hold you through the ascension process, then moving through the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening is a joy, and the recognition is great. And as you do that, go to our online library. You'll see it right there on the homepage. Click on the Lost Books of the Essene and read the very last book. It was extremely prophetic, and a lot of information was given about the times we're in right now. What's coming on the June solstice? It's an amp. Is there anything special you need to do? Trust your heart about that. Because what's most important is that you know you carry the ascension energy within you as you ignite a stable heart, release the judgment, and passionate action means just that, action. Doesn't mean you're sitting on the couch going, oh, that's going to happen. It means you're taking action. How are you inspiring the world? How are you inspiring yourself, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your coworkers? What do you do each day that ignites passion within you and inspires others to find theirs?
Passion is rooted in compassion. It's the energy of the heart taking action. Anger is a lower frequency energy that is seeking to push. Now, anger is a signal that something has happened that we didn't like. Good, that's good information. The question is, do you need to push back from that level, or do you use it to lift and inform? Remember another thing. How many of us have been victimized at some point in our lives, have had hurt? And as we heal the hurt, we become teachers. We become healers. Let's transform the victim energy into the energy of the healer.
Oh, I love that.
Each and every one of those people that was in the nightclub and other events was shocked, stunned, and hurt. And as they come forward with love, helping each other, they're modeling the energy of healing.
Yeah, passionate.
And that's where we need to go, beloveds, is we lift into our heart, we take passionate action to heal our world, not do battle in the world.
Namaste. We're going to insert a picture of the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening, and we invite you to consider moving from density sanity, which is where you'll find the anger and the stuckness and the activism, into ascended sanity. Feel like you're losing your mind? You're not alone. And you can also check out Ascended Sanity at our website. But take a moment, look at the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening, go into your heart, find your passionate action. It's a big summer ahead. We love you.
Namaste.